Hey, everybody, welcome to your coach call for the week and reviewing our five pillars. We always want to be focused on nutrition, fitness, sleep, hydration, and stress management. And as I talk about those and review those, I wanted to talk about or to kind of reiterate I did this panel last night. I spoke at a women's health event, and one of the other speakers who was there, who kicked us off last night, she gave us wonderful information about cancer risk. She's a medical doctor working in oncology with patients. And she has gone and taken her journey one step further outside of Western medicine and become also a functional medicine doctor as well. And so she said it's based on six pillars. So my ears perked up. I'm like, what are we missing? And so she went through them, and sure enough, the five pillars were exactly the same as the ones that we focus on, and the sixth pillar was pulled from the blue zones, which if you have been around me for a little bit, I tend to mention the Blue Zones, which is a book written, originally started as a study from National Geographic, and they were studying the hot spots on the planet of where people live to be over 100 and what might they be doing. Was there any parallels? Well, there were. Uh, and so those pillars that we talk about are part of the blue zone solution. And the one pillar that I don't incorporate and that she mentioned last night, which I truly believe in from the blue zones, is connectivity. So, loneliness is a diagnosable situation. So as we go through these pillars, I'm not changing my five pillars yet, but I do want to just talk about connectivity and being engaged with your community, whatever your community is. And I think that it's a nice way to change up your routine. She had us do a little exercise yesterday, right off the bat, that said, okay, everybody just turns to their neighbor and ask them, what their, favorite thing to do to relax is. And so we took a minute, we all did that. And um and so right after that she says, well, she was like, think about like how like what your brain was thinking or how you were feeling right before that, right? You're getting ready to watch a presentation, you dialed in, like maybe you're just tired from the day and you just got in your seat and all that kind of business. But then you turn and you had an interaction with another human being about something that was beneficial. And how do you feel after that? So even, our research shows us it just takes seconds for our brains to react to something that is positive. So her recommendation was that when you are out and about, no matter where you are, engage. And it could also fall under mindfulness, right? You're checking out somewhere, have a conversation. Um, you know, I uh, I noticed this the other day, and now I can't think of the exact example, but um, I kind of grew up where, like, if I noticed something about somebody, I never really said anything, right? That was not the culture I was raised in. And so I've learned to say, like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if I told them that I really liked the color of their blazer? And so the other day I did something, similar. It wasn't the color of the blazer, but similar. And I make it a point now if I think a positive thing about, like, oh, hey, that was really nice. I try to tell somebody. Actually, do have a good example. In the clinic, the charge nurse the other day, we had a patient that was not doing well, and I watched the charge nurse manage the situation very calmly and then just work through it. And there was a situation where I think a lot of us would be a little panic stricken, but he didn't show that and I watched. I was like, wow, he's got a lot of experience and professionally. He's doing a really great job managing this patient, and I went into his office the next day and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you, I saw, how you managed that yesterday, and I was really, just wanted to say I think that was great. Not everybody has that skill." And I paid him that compliment. I think he felt good about that. He took it. He was like, "Thanks," and I actually felt good about giving it, right? So as you're going through your day, you're working on your five pillars, but also just be mindful of your community and where you are. And, I think we're all so accustomed to the like, that that didn't go well. I can't believe this person did that or whatever. And that's what comes out. Let's see if we can kind of do the opposite and be a part of our community in a positive way so that we're lifting up instead of kind of perpetuating that negative, which goes into our, our negative cycle of thought that we're thinking. So that is just sort of like, why don't we just try to implement that this week? Um, I will be I'll be doing a fundraiser for mental health. It's Mental Health Month. May is Mental Health Month, and I pause when I say that because I'm on track. I'm scheduled to do the fundraiser. And on Memorial Day weekend, like I normally do. But most of you know, I have been getting ready to move and put my house on the market, and it's going on today. And so, um, it is a very good exercise for me to understand my limits. How do I plan? How do I eat food? We're living in a hotel this week, so I had to go. There's a supermarket across the street from the hotel, so we're not going to be eating out every meal in a hotel. It's ridiculous. So I went over. Um, and my daughter was absolutely on the floor laughing because I didn't realize that I wasn't going to be able to carry everything back across the street. It was just across the street. So I had my shopping cart that I filled in. I was like, you would have absolutely run away from me if you had been with me. And she couldn't stop laughing about that. So um I did my food shopping and I was able to get some snacks to keep in the room. So when you're traveling, I know a bunch of us do travel. Um, it is easy enough to go to the supermarket and put some healthy snacks in the room. I got water, I got some banana chips, um, I got cold cuts for my son, I got my salad, all things. So it's easy enough to do. So we just need to remember that we can do it. I've been out and about, not able to cook a bunch this week. And so I've had to run into supermarkets, and it made me want to remind you guys that when you're out and your meal gets disrupted or you're unable to do it, like when we're driving, we're like, oh, where should we go? We always think like, oh, what takeout should we get? What restaurant should we get? And so but for me, especially more so when I was training, and I'm very careful about when I eat when I'm training, because I don't want anything to upset my stomach or make me sick or something that I haven't had. I'm not willing to roll the dice on that. So I will, in a plaza full of like restaurants, I'll go to the supermarket and I'll go in and I'll get an apple and some nuts and a protein bar. I'll have that. Obviously, that's not my meal. But I'm just as we're going through and we're like, oh, I need to have a snack. Always consider like the supermarket or something that you can just pop into, and there's nothing that says you can't just go in and buy one apple so that you can have a snack. Many of our supermarkets now have those little pre-made things up in the front, and some of those are good choices, some of those not awesome. If you're getting the like lo mein from the supermarket on the hot thing, or the wings, that's probably not the better choice, but they definitely have salads that you can choose from, or different sandwiches. I know, I hear it, bread, but this is you can eat bread. Bread is fine. uh, you just don't eat too much of it. So we can try to think outside of your regular routine of what you can try to incorporate, just to start to plant those seeds of what we can do when we're traveling and we're not at home, or even when we are at home and things just get a little bit chaotic and busy. All right. So that is our coach message. If you have any questions about for the women here, if you have any, I have a lot of interesting information about hormone and blood sugar management and cancer prevention for women that we discussed last night. So if you're interested, let me know. Happy to share all of that with you. Probably goes a little bit more in detail than what we usually do on the coach call. So just reach out if you're interested. Happy to review that information. All right, guys, let's have a great week. Those of you I've spoken to seem to be doing really well. I'm excited for you guys. All right. Have a great rest of your week.